Hey everyone, welcome back to iRacing, where I'm moving up a class for my second race back in the sim. It's the Falken Tyre GT4 Challenger Watkins Glen, and I'm starting from P15 on a ferocious grid of 26 cars. Now it's a 15-minute sprint, this one, and the aggression levels are going to go through the roof, with drivers in a real hurry to gain as many positions as possible in the shortest amount of time. Can I survive? And if so, can I improve on P15? Well, one thing's for sure, it's not going to be for the weak of heart. This one is going to be wild. Yeah, it's going to be a real step up in intensity, this one, compared to the Mazda race I did last week. Only 12 cars on the grid for that one, but today we've got more than double the size, 26 drivers, and you just know things are going to get aggressive as soon as the lights go green. A little bit of a gap has just opened up to that Porsche in front, but just as the lights do go green, Ferocious gets on the brakes. That spooked me a little bit, but I just got clipped by one of the McLarens coming through, so already a 4X on the board. Not much I could do about that. The number 7 Porsche of Ferocious just getting on the brakes as I was getting on the gas. Immediately I had to get on the brakes too. My other option, of course, was to swerve out into the middle of the track and try and get around him, but that probably would have been more dangerous still, so I've lost a couple of positions here. Another one lost there. That's Lucas Rosali in the BMW closing the door through the S's. Big crash to the left. Immediately I lift and move as far right as I possibly can to try and keep myself safe, but it opens me up to another big hit from behind, and I now find myself on 8X, just a couple of corners into this race. And this puts me in a really precarious position now. We've still got 15 minutes to go here at Watkins Glen. We know there's going to be door banging in this series, but already my instant count is halfway towards a DQ. So I'm going to have to be really careful here. I need to try and avoid getting sucked into trading blows with anyone. Speaking of trading blows, Ferocious making a move up the inside of Lucas Rosali there. A bit of a block pass. There was contact between the pair of them. I just back off slightly and move over to the right. That's to close off the inside line, because I can see now in my rear view mirror Felipe Maciel in the Mercedes breathing down my neck, so I don't want to lose another position here. I managed to gain a few back due to that instant at the top of the S's. There were certainly 3 cars involved, maybe even 4. Yellow flags right into the right-hander. All car rejoining to the right. I had to take avoiding action there, and then I take another big hit from behind. Maciel running into the back of me. Thankfully it's only a 0X this time. And that is a reminder of how precarious my situation is. Another bump or two like that, I could be on the verge of getting a black flag here. Right, let's go back and check out a replay to see what happened at the start. This is the end of the formation lap. I think it was that blue and black McLaren behind me, Leon Billau, who gave me the 4X as the lights went green. Now watch the orange Porsche in front of me right there, just getting on the brakes. That forces me to get on the brakes too, and yeah, it was just the faintest of bumps as that McLaren went past. And then it's actually the same driver who's at the centre of this big incident at the top of the S's, the McLaren just squeezing the car on the inside. There's contact, it's a huge spin. That is me in the background, just squeezing by. I was so lucky to get through there relatively unscathed. And then we picked up another position at T8. That is Liam Brown in the Mercedes spinning out after a little tap from behind by Kashelsing in the Porsche. So actually I've gained 2 positions due to the carnage on that opening lap. I find myself up into P13. We're rejoining the live action now on lap 2. Now we saw Liam Brown get spun out at turn 8 on the previous lap. He's right behind me now. You can see his Mercedes in my rearview mirror, just 0.2 of a second behind. We know Brown has got pace. He was in a comfortable top 10 position when he crashed out on that opening lap. He just has a sniff up the inside into this left-hander. That spooks me a little bit. I'm still worried about this instant point count. This is my only chance to race this combo this week, so I do not want it to end early in pit lane with a black flag. I take the defensive line once again into the hairpin just to try and discourage that Mercedes from making another move. Meanwhile, there's a slower driver in front. It looks like Ferocious has come to grief somewhere in that Porsche. Ferocious was certainly getting stuck in on the opening lap, so he has come to grief there. That is another position gained up into P12 now. Has Liam Brown got past the Porsche as well? I glanced into the rearview mirror. Yes, he has. Brown has got past Ferocious as well. So let's see what happened to Zuriatis. Oh, actually, it's the black Mercedes in front of him. Phoenix Law bouncing off the barrier there. That gives Zuriatis the opportunity to sweep around the outside. He's made the pass here at this point, but then the Mercedes fires back with not one but two taps, which sends the Porsche out onto the grass. End of lap 3 then, still in P12 and closing in fast on the BMW in front. Lucas Rosali just 0.2 of a second in front now. Ahead of him, Phoenix Law in that final top 10 position. So the top 10 just 1.5 seconds away now. Things looking good here. I wasn't quite close enough to mount a challenge on Rosali into T1, but I can apply pressure. I was actually a little bit too close through T1 there. I just lost my bearings for a split second. The size of that BMW obscuring my view. I lost sight momentarily of my apex and then had to overcorrect. So that has cost me a tenth or two. I'm still not close enough to mount a challenge coming down this back straight, but I will be able to reel the BMW back in. However, I'll also be pulling along Zuriatis and Liam Brown. The pair of them are within 1 second behind me, breathing down my neck and ready to pounce if anything goes wrong here. And of course, the other thing to remember about both those drivers behind is the pair of them have both surrendered top 10 positions through no fault of their own. So they're going to be in a hurry to try and get back through the pack as quickly as they possibly can. They may even be a little bit angry as well. The blood may be boiling. So yeah, that is one thing to keep an eye on. Take a look in the rearview mirror now. Zuriatis closing right in. He gets too close. He gives me a big tap. That's going to push me out wide. The rear is stepping around here. I'm going to have to overcorrect again. Thankfully, it's another 0x. Oh, I could so easily be on a 16x now. But you know what? I'm just going to let Zuriatis have that position. He can go around the outside. He's done exactly the same. Again, this time he's run into the back of Lucas Rosali. Well, the warning signs were there at the previous corner. This is me again going a little bit defensive. Watch the orange Porsche behind me. There's the bump right there. It pushes me out really wide. At this point, I was worried the rear is going to step around. I managed to hold on to it, but at this point, I thought it was safest to let the Porsche through. And then he goes and drives right into the back of the BMW. The pair of them spin out, so no sooner do I voluntarily give up one position, I get two back. One final look now on board from Zuriatis. Yeah, he just brakes way too late. And yeah, I think this has got to be my strategy now for the next couple of laps at least. If things start to get heated out there, just take a step back. The aggression is at level 100 now. Drivers really pushing as we approach the halfway point of the race. So I'm a little bit wide out of turn 1 there. That is going to give Philippe Maciel the opportunity to make a move down the inside. I'm going to have to give him this one after that poor exit out of the final turn. So Maciel makes his move into T1. That does leave a gap open for Liam Brown to try and make a move. Brown, an opportunistic move. There's contact. I thought my rear was going to spin around then. Immediately I move back over to the left to try and give Brown more space. Oh, and he slams the door shut coming up through the S's. I have to get off the gas. That's going to cost me a lot of speed down the back straight. Thankfully, again, it was a 0x. That's 3 big hits I've had that could easily have been a 4x each and could easily have seen me disqualified. Oh, look at Brown up the inside into the bus stop chicane. That was never going to end well. There was contact with Maciel and Brown crashes out. I take to the grass in a blind panic there. That's given me another 1x. But at least I have got that one position back that I surrendered to Brown. There may be a sniff of a second position here as I make a move up the inside of Maciel into the left-hander. The yellow flag came out then just as I was making the pass. I was already committed to the overtake before the flags came out, so suddenly I've gained both of those positions back. By the letter of the law, perhaps I should have to give that position back, but before I decide whether to or not, let's go back and check out a replay. Yeah, that's Maciel making a move up the inside. It left a big gap, and you can blame Brown for having a go there. That was a gaping hole. He dived up the inside, then he tried to dive up the inside again. It didn't work as well for him at the second time of asking. There's contact in the bus stop, and he has gone. And then coming out of the bus stop chicane, I sensed an opportunity that I may be able to get Maciel back coming into this left-hander. Timed it perfectly and pulled off the pass. Yeah, I needed to hug a tight line through that corner to keep the overtake clean. I just about managed it, but it was borderline. It was a bit of a block pass, a bit of a send, but it has put me back up into P11. Right, back to the live action now. Lap 6. I tell you what, that wasn't a tidy route through the bus stop chicane, was it? Taking all sorts of curb and grass there. Thankfully, I just about managed to keep it within track limits, and no more incident points, but it has cost me valuable time, and it will put me under pressure now. Philippe Maciel may want to get me back. Oh, I've missed the apex completely into this left-hander. The gap is wide open. Maciel says thank you very much, and I'm going to lose 2 positions. Brazil Tudor also getting past. I may even lose 3 positions if I'm not careful. Thankfully, I've got the inside line through the hairpin, so I can fend off the advances of Max Azenga there. And once again, I'm having issues with the rear coming out of that hairpin. It's just getting really loose, and it feels like it wants to spin around, so I've got no choice but to take the defensive line once again to try and hold off Azenga. And it is working at least. I'm defending the position pretty solidly, but at the same time, I'm losing ground with the cars in front. I find myself dropped from P11 back down to P13. Right, let's jump forward to lap 7 now. This is our penultimate time around. We're going to get one more lap after this one. Is that enough time for me to get myself back in contention for a top 10 finish? Well, it's looking unlikely. However, there is a lot of congestion ahead. Look at this. I've closed right in on this pack of cars now. That is 12th, 11th and 10th, all within 1 second of me, and then just ahead of them, 8th and 9th position. So yeah, this is a big battle now with 1.5 laps to go at Watkins Glen. 5 cars, make it 6 now. I've joined in, and I've had a much better run than Tudor through that left-hander. Tudor taking a bit too much of the curve. Is there an opportunity up the inside? Well, no, there's not. I almost get my nose pitched there. I had to back out of that one. So possibly a bit of a careless move there. Thankfully, I got away with it. Well, earlier in the race, I was protecting my safety rating. I didn't want to pick up any incident points and be on the verge of a DQ. But now we've got 1.5 laps to go. It might be worth upping the aggression levels just a little bit. There are positions to be had here. I have got 9 incident points on the board, so I can afford a minor bump or 2, but at the same time I've got to be a little bit careful, because all I need to pick up is 2 4Xs and things will look very, very different. We can see how close it is in front now, and when you throw in the 3 cars behind me as well, all within 1.5 seconds of me, it is incredible to say that as we start this last lap, there are 9 cars separated by less than 3 seconds. So here we go then, 1 lap to go. We're set up for a grandstand finish here at Watkins Glen. Now the big question is, do I push? Do I attack and try and make some passes? Or do I hope that these guys in front take each other out? We've seen some crazy aggression levels in this race, and it is only going to get more aggressive on this final lap. I've got a great run on Valentin Charmelot here. Oh, I was desperately trying to maintain my momentum going up the hill, but I had no choice but to lift. I just ran a little bit too close to Charmelot, had nowhere else to go, had to lift, which is going to cost me a 10th or 2, but I'm right in this at the moment. And look at Tudor making a move up the inside of the bus stop on Silvio Grenier. Now we've already seen this go wrong once, it's gone wrong again. Tudor slides right across track. I have to adjust, I have to lift. That is 1 position gain, P13 up into P12, and I'm still with this pack. But I've got another great run on Charmelot. Now I've pulled this overtake off once. Can I do it again? Diving up the inside. Oh, it's an even bigger block pass this time, but that's P11 in the bag, and I could get P10. That's Kashal Singh in the Porsche, well down on pace. So yeah, I've got around the black Porsche into the hairpin, up into P10. Incredible. Starting this final lap in P13, I now find myself inside the top 10 with just half a lap to go to try and protect it. Oh, I've had no choice but to spend the majority of this race playing it safe. Those were the cards I was dealt on that opening lap with that 8X. But yeah, as the race comes to an end, I'm up in the aggression level a little bit. I'm pushing a bit harder. I'm attacking. And yeah, maybe that overtake on Charmelot was a bit beyond the limit. We'll go back and check out a replay of that once we get across the line. But for now, let's take this to the flag. 2 corners to go. I'm up into P10. I'm actually only half a second off P8. The pair of them in front running wide, but it's going to take a big mistake from either of those drivers to give me another position. No surprises that the safety rating took a hit there after that opening lap, but thankfully the iRacing is going in the other direction, finally undoing some of the damage caused by that Mazda race last week. Right, let's go back and check out a replay, starting with this incident at the bus stop. Yeah, Tudor desperately trying to save it, but he was a passenger in that. We didn't quite see from that angle just how close I was to getting collected in that. I reacted in the nick of time, just lifting at the perfect moment as Tudor slid across in front of me. This will give us a better angle. Look at me in the background. That's Tudor sliding right across. I correct at exactly the right time and live to fight another day. And here's the overtake on Charmelot. Now, I've already pulled this pass off once. I said it was a bit of a block pass. This was even worse. Look, I didn't really hold my inside line there. In fact, I drifted right out in front of Charmelot. So yeah, a little bit on the aggressive side there from me. Not proud of that one at all. So sorry, Valentin, for that. And then, of course, we did get another position as well. That was Singing, the Porsche bouncing off the barrier. So here are the classified results then. Incredibly, a top 10 finish, a gain of 5 positions, and a fastest lap in the race of 1:56.1. So a touch quicker than my qualifying time there. To be fair, the top 7 all in the 1:55s. I wasn't quick enough to catch up with them, but all in all, just about deserving of that top 10 finish. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you haven't seen my Mazda race from last week, check it out here. It's got an equally dramatic last lap, but for all the wrong reasons. As always, thank you ever so much for joining me. Thank you for your support, and I'll look forward to seeing you again on the grid very soon. Cheers for now.